Hello and welcome to Premier League action from South Australia. With James Harris here for preliminary final night. For the winner tonight, they punch a ticket to the grand final where Sturt Falcons are waiting for them. James Harris, as I said, to my left, we've got Eric Bollner and a very special guest commentator from the Travelodge Aussie Spirit, Janice Blackman. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this game. This is going to be such a good game, I think.
We're going to talk to Janice throughout the entire game. We've got Lee on standby throughout the night for his thoughts. But Eric Bollner, what a massive game we have tonight.
Massive game with a massive matchup, especially in the circle. It's two players that have been in those national team camps before, in Georgia Hood for Hills and Steph Brzezinski for the Eagles. The Hills probably don't have as much pressure as the Eagles. And Janice, we were talking before the game, the pressure is all on West Torrens, and sometimes that breeds mistakes.
Yeah, definitely. But then again, these West Torrens, I haven't seen them making very many mistakes, but I definitely do think they've got some pressure on them. These Hillside, they can just go out there and just, they've got nothing to lose at this point. They can just go out there and go all for it.
That's a great point. Nothing to lose. I think they've surpassed all expectations of the season so far. Probably as the season was beginning, people might have had Hills around the top four, maybe even out of the four. And so to be in the preliminary final is huge.
Yeah, 100%.
And Hills, they'll be batting first in the game. They are the away team. West Torrens, the home team. Steph Brzezinski is in the circle. Defensively, West Torrens have been one of the best teams in the competition this season. Steph Brzezinski throwing to Carly Allen, we mentioned that, but that infield, Lana Kaysler, Jordan Harris, Kara Schultz, Kelsey Nucky, as solid as they come, with Picard, Marchink, and Beal. Now, Kaysler and Harris, about as elite as a hot corner you can have in this competition.
Yeah, 100%. They've both got a very good relationship too, so I'm definitely going to think that communication is going to be spot on over on that corner. So I don't think it's going to be very hard to get past that corner over there.
Janice, you do know some of these players, not only from your Aussie Spirit days, but against them at the Gillies Shield as well, where you play for Queensland Heat against the SA Stars. So you just gave us a small little insight there. There are teammates for the Stars. Have a look at this young lady on screen there. Stephanie Drazinski, 41 innings pitched for the season, an ERA of 0.1. She's going to kick things off for us. We're about to get started for the first batter of the game. It's Georgia Hood. Over to you, Eric Bollner.
It is a heavyweight matchup to start it off the hop. Steph Brzezinski delivers the first pitch inside to Georgia Hood. What a season batting Georgia Hood had. She's going to be in the conversation for the CAF Coral Medal. That will be announced later this week, I believe. She's hitting 500 on the season. She's had 8 RBI, and she's been a key cog in this lineup as Drazinski gets ready to deal the 1-0.
Oh, look at that. That was a great pitch right there. Oh, just missed the mark on the...
Now, there's been a bit of rain around over the last hour or so. The diamond's going to hold up fine. It's the outfield that might be a little wet. So look for extra bases from the runners. Look for some careful throws in from the outfield.
Yeah, definitely. I know my experience as an outfielder, you've definitely got to pull down hard and take your time with that. I guess sometimes you could always just try to read the ball just a little bit earlier, just getting up that explosive mark, coming in and trying to get that ball before these girls get on those runs, because they will be running very aggressively.
We'll be looking for that first hit to the outfield, and Georgia Hood, someone that can easily do it, and she goes crack, pushes this out towards an awkward spot in left field, and it drops in front of Faith Picard. Georgia Hood with some wheels slides into second. She was thinking 2 all along, and Georgia Hood has a double.
The West Torrens outfield were deep. Leading teams replay. Janice, talk us through it.
And so, as you can see, that's just a little bleeder. You can't actually help those. And Georgia knew straight off that bat that was going to be a bit of a bleeder, so she's heading straight to 2. Look, she did not hesitate one little bit. As soon as she's seen that error out there, she was gone.
That's huge to have a runner in scoring position, lead-off batter of the game.
Puts a runner in scoring position for Amber Hood. Steph Brzezinski doesn't allow a lot of runners in scoring position. In fact, in the regular season, she didn't allow a lot of runners on base in general. She averaged just 4 pitches per batter faced this season. Just a dominating season for Steph Brzezinski in the circle.
She's a very dominating pitcher. She's a very assertive pitcher. That is one thing I'll always say about her. She's a very aggressive pitcher, always has been. Ever since I've known her as a, under 19s coming through, always been just an aggressive pitcher.
James, she's probably looking for a bit of a bounce-back game. And I say bounce-back, it's kind of weird saying that. She allowed 3 runs in 8 innings. It's not a bad outing.
No, not at all.
This is laid down the bunt for Amber Hood. Lana Kazler, there very quickly to make the out, but importantly, she advances Georgia Hood over to third.
And Lana took really good control of that play. She definitely called those girls off straight away as soon as that bunt went down. She was all over that. Look at her. Yep, she called them off straight away. She was all over that. She was in control. She knew where she was going.
That's Janice Blackman on the leading team's replay. Lauren Christensen, the batter in the box. Now, she's an aggressive hitter, so she might go first pitch. But come back to me, Eric.
Oh.
Swings right through.
That is Hill's bread and butter right there. They have they play a short game. They play a traditional softball short game. They've had more bunts than West Torrens throughout this season by 29 attempts to 15 over the season.
2 aggressive swings right away from Lauren Christensen.
Whereas Torrens that play more of an aggressive hitting game, they out-hit Hills by 35 hits, including 23 more extra base hits on the season. Also look for Hills to steal. They had 23 stolen bases on the year compared to West Torrens' 15.
0-2 count. Steph Brzezinski looking for her first strikeout, and Christensen gets bat on ball, hit hard over towards left field, and it goes over the head of Faith Picard. That scores an early run. Christensen steps into 2. It's an RBI double for the Hills Heat, and they strike first.
That is such a great hit, and out in left field, that is such a hard ball to read, especially coming off a left-handed batter, because that ball is tailing. That ball is definitely tailing, and the winds aren't helping her either out there.
Now, we don't like dobbing on the players from the commentary position, but wouldn't be surprised if Lauren Christensen missed first base, because as she was rounding first, she looked up at the last second, had to do a double step, but she's made it to second. There's no appeal from West Torrens, and the first run's on the board.
Peyton Daniels, the batter now, sorry.
No, you're right. So I was just going to say, that is the beauty about this game, that's Hill's gotten their first run up on the board, but this game could be such a long game, you never know what could happen.
An early run for the Hills. Christensen was going, the bunt was showing, and that was tipped foul.
Peyton Daniels still in the under 18 age group, hitting an impressive 265 on the season with 11 RBI, second on the team.
Yeah, it's for this Hills team, it's been not necessarily about that batting average, but it's been when they've got their clutch hits. Peyton Daniels has been one of the clutch players. She swings through that. That's strikeout number 1 for Steph Brzezinski.
That was a great rise ball from Steph right there. Kicked just right at the right time there.
Yeah, Drazinski, 74 strikeouts in 41 innings worth of work. And Eric, you mentioned the 4 pitch per batter average. Most of the time, 3 of those are strikes.
Well,
yeah.
here's what's impressive. Steph allowed 1 earned run in the entire regular season. And on the Hills side of things, it took them 3 batters to get that 1 earned run today. Talia La Rosa, impressive left-handed hitter this year, has started to cement herself defensively especially, but she's a patient one. She gets quite a few walks.
Yes, a senior member of this young Hills team, as is Lauren Christensen, won a Cathcart medal over a decade ago, came back her first season in the Premier League in about the same amount of time. La Rosa, multiple premierships with the West Torrens Softball Club, including a player of the grand final. That was about 10 years ago as well.
It's a team that has an interesting balance of some vets like Lauren Christensen, but also some younger players. Peyton Daniels, you mentioned. You forget Georgia Hood, as long as she's been in this Premier League competition and we've been watching her on this live streams, she's still exceptionally young.
Yeah, only about 20 years of age.
She's got big things ahead of her, Georgia Hood.
Oh, definitely, 100%. I guess she does have a bit of a secret weapon there, working with our battery over at the Aussie Spirit, because we are teammates, me and Georgia. So she's got a bit of a secret weapon behind her, working with one of the best pitchers in the world,
1-1 count. Rises up high.
Is that the coaching stuff you're talking about in Andrew Kirkpatrick, or is it the ace that you guys have for the Aussie Spirit in Kai Parnaby?
I was definitely talking about both. So
both.
Kai definitely shares her experience as a senior player, and she loves guiding those young ones coming through as well. And Andrew Kirkpatrick, words cannot explain how much of how impressive he is.
Full count pitch to La Rosa, and it's the 3rd and final out, the 2nd strikeout for Steph Drazinski, but the Hills Heat strike early with an RBI double from Lauren Christensen, batting 3 in the lineup, And in a position that West Torrens haven't been very often, they're going to have to play this game starting from behind.
Yeah, no question that they've got the challenge thrown out to them by the Hills Heat. But if anyone's got the lineup to do it, it is West Torrens. They scored 135 runs on the season, and you know that's almost a run an inning throughout the year. Now we do have Lee in the stands. I'm just waiting for a bit of a nod to see if one, he can hear us, but two, if you can speak to us, Lee. We might catch up with Lee a little later, but that's okay. We'll go through the Hills Heat defensive lineup, and then we might be able to catch up with Lee in just a moment. Eric?
Yep, defensively, the pitching combination, Georgia Hood to Amber Hood. Infield, Danny Perez at shortstop, Talia Rosa at second there in the middle. On the corners, Alex Mackey at first, Peyton Daniels at third. Outfield, Mackenzie Ween, Maddie Rocher, and Abby Jorgensen. Quite a bit of speed out in that outfield, but I think the person that a lot of people will be talking about is Georgia Hood. She's coming off a fantastic elimination final. She allowed just the one earned run during the game, including getting out of a bases loaded jam, and then delivered a key bases clearing double to put the team up in front. Your teammates with Georgia Hood, what is it about Georgia that makes her a special player?
I mean, I think she just goes for it. That's the one thing I've always noticed about her being this is the first time I've been in a team with her and played with her or against her. And she's always just, every single time she's on that field, she just goes for it. You know, she doesn't care who's out there. She just goes for it. She takes on the challenge and she will battle. She will always battle. She's not afraid to accept that challenge and go for it.
I mean, Georgia Hood's someone that we've become very familiar with here in South Australia, but again, a newer player on that national squad. What first impressions does she make to some of those senior teammates, I guess?
I mean, I always knew her as a pitcher and a really good batter. I actually didn't know she played first base as well until she come out and played first base. I couldn't speak on the other girls and what their first impressions were, but my impression was I was very happy to see her. You know, a young, bright face coming in. She always had a smile on her face every time I seen her, and just a beautiful personality. You know, just bringing a bright side to the team. It was beautiful to be.
Great insight coming from Travelodge Aussie Spirit. Special guest commentator here tonight in the South Australian Premier League, Janice Blackman. It is just about ready to go for the bottom half of the first inning. Jordan Harris to lead things off for the Eagles.
One of the most dynamic batters or dynamic players in the game right now, Jordan Harris.
One of the most dangerous as well.
She can just beat you in so many different ways.
100%. You know, I did see her that game when she hit those 2 home runs over the fence, and then, you know, the ground is slippery out there, so outfield have to be really, really cautious. If they miss that ball, that's an infield home run for her. Just automatically, that's an infield home run.
Yeah, the margin for error with Jordan Harris at the plate is nearly zero. Hood delivers the pitch, and a patient start for Jordan Harris. It's a heavyweight matchup in the circle with 2 Australian caliber players, and Steph Brzezinski versus Georgia Hood. Now both a few teammates trying to work out a bit of a mess in the circle, it looks like.
One thing with Jordan too, she waits for her pitch. She makes that pitcher work for it too. Okay. And if they put it in there, she drives it. There we go. That's that swing, and she's not far off it. I can tell you that.
As the rain starts to come down a little bit here, it's light, and according to the Bureau, it should be passing, but that is yet to be seen.
Apologise, we probably brought that weather over from Brisbane.
Well,
thank you.
It's all right.
Thoughts to everyone who is suffering in the floods that are in the eastern states, as Hood throws that one in a little high as Lambert flashed a bunt.
3-1 count coming up here for Jordan Harris. Both teams benefited from having their leadoff runner aboard.
Again, that makes her so dangerous, Urel, because she could also just drop a running bunt as well.
Instead, she'll take, and it's a patient walk for Jordan Harris, and now you've got some serious speed on the base pass.
Yeah, Georgia Hood, 81 innings of work on the season, 88 strikeouts and 59 walks. So with every walk that she throws, expect 1.5 strikeouts. So it's not great signs for the Eagles. However, they do have their runner aboard.
You saw that in the preliminary final. Georgia Hood walked a few batters, but she was able to get herself out of it with a couple pretty big strikeouts. Lana Kaesler showing bunt. She's someone that admittedly says she would prefer not to bunt, and she usually just lets Jordan Harris do the work and steal that base for her over at first, sliding into second.
We saw Lana with a long ball just a couple of games ago, so she has the power to get over the fence.
Again, showing bunt, but that's called strike. A little bit of a ooh from Lana Kaesler in the box. 1-1 count. When it is raining like this, sometimes a bit heavier, sometimes a bit slippier, how does this affect yourself as a player out on the field?
I mean, for me, it's more of a, you just got to go straight instantly into something you can control.
Runner goes. Kaesler flying down the base pass. Hood made that difficult. She does the job of advance the runner over to second, so it's just a sacrifice bunt. But now you have a runner in scoring position. But sorry, you're saying about the rain.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's just, you got to control the things you can control. Like for me, example, I can definitely control my speed out there. So for me, I'm just reading the ball a little bit earlier, and I'm just trying to push myself, just trying to run a little bit faster. And I mean, you'll never be able to control the rain and how drizzly you'll get or how wet that ground will be, but you can always control those other things.
Faith Picard takes the first pitch in for a strike. Jordan Harris with a healthy lead scampers back towards second. James, you figure any hit here probably going to score Harris from second.
Yeah, she'll take on any ground ball to the outfield. They are reasonably deep as well for Picard, who can hit an extra base hit.
Oh, that is a great swing right there. She's seeing that ball well.
See that 426 on base percentage, 314 average. She has 16 hits, 12 runs driven in. She's been a cog in the middle of the lineup and sets things up dangerously with Sophie Hoyle and Steph Brzezinski following her. 1-1 count, Georgia Hood.
Picard aggressively going after a high one, but you mentioned Harris on an outfield hit. If the ball's wet, I don't even think the outfielders would attempt to throw home. Maybe they'd just try and hold up Picard and give a single rather than a double and put another runner in scoring position for the dangerous Hoyle who's on deck.
A strikeout would be handy for Hood, and she gets one. Pushes West Torrens over to 2 outs on the inning despite getting the leadoff runner aboard. And now, James, these are the moments that were really magnified for West Torrens in their last game in the qualifying final for the Grand One. They had runners in scoring position all day. In fact, bases loaded a couple times, runner on second and third, but they just couldn't bring them around.
Yeah, that's something that they've spoken about midweek as well, or since the game on Saturday. And, you know, they got their opportunities, they squandered them a little bit, but how are they going to do it? I mean, that's the question, is how are they going to be able to capitalise their opportunities and execute the ball? Getting it on the deck might not be good enough. This Hills defence is pretty good.
Yeah, they've been one of the better defensive teams on the season, especially in the second half of the season. And then you mix in that Georgia Hood is pitching against you. You know, finding that hit, especially at that right time, going to be harder than normal.
Just being a little bit more patient. That's all it is. Just being a little bit more patient for that pitch to come down.
2-0 count, so she's worked herself in a favorable position. Sophie Hoyle, in the last game, she drove home Lana Kaesler with a crucial double that tied the game and forced extra innings for West Torrens right when they needed to hit the most.
Clutch hit in the top of the 7th when Sturt had the momentum and they'd gone a run up. She actually was on the 3 times that she batted, didn't she? She got on each time.
Yeah, I was going to say she got 3 from 3 that last game.
She's had a pretty big last few games leading into the finals. But a big early moment. These are 7-inning games, no time limit like you have in the regular season. 2-2 count, 2 outs. Put on the ground right towards Alex Mackey, who makes a sure-handed play over at first, and West Torrens will finish the first inning down 1-0 to the Hills.
Well, that's terrific inning for the Hills Heat. Not only did they get on the board first, but they negated that threat, the lead-off walk that was only advanced by 1 batter. So again, with no outs and a runner on, they weren't able to score a run at West Torrens. Leading teams replay, Janice.
And look at that pitch. I think she went really nicely with that pitch. I think, Alex Mackey was just right there, ready to field. She was all ready for that ball to come down, and it was a nice hit. Just unfortunately, Alex Mackey was right there.
All right, we are going to cross over to Lee. Lee, can you hear us there, mate?
Well, as James and Lee try to... He's on. Lee, can you hear us now?
How's that, boys? No?
Well, we are just waiting on Lee Hull, and just talk when you're ready there, Lee. But
I am talking,
in the meantime,
talking.
It is only the first inning as well. So for West Torrens, they'll be able to get another opportunity, but just taking advantage of those base runners, they might just have to go back to good old traditional small ball, laying the bunts down and backing their hitters to get the ball on the deck and advancing the runners the old-fashioned way, rather than trying to hit their way out of trouble.
Well, one of the batswomen that has really put a foot forward this year is Danny Perez, leading things off. She's had a few clutch hits. Usually comes up to bat, always seems to have a runner in scoring position, usually helps drive them home. Steph Brzezinski just looking back for a table-setting inning after allowing one in the first. You can see that 12 hits and 13 runs driven in. That is just productivity from the young rising star in Danny Perez.
The rain still continues to come down. Look at her numbers on screen. 13 RBIs, team leading numbers. She did swing aggressively on that first pitch. So it'll be interesting to see if Drazinski just leaves it up and out of the zone, just forcing her to chase, which she's been able to hold off the last two pitches.
2-1 count. Both pitchers, they're falling behind in counts on both of these turns of at-bat so far, both Drazinski and Hood. Does the rain have something to do with that too, do you think?
I think definitely so. That rain has definitely probably given the girls just a bit more of a slippery ball, I guess. A bit harder to chuck that spin on, just a little bit harder to control the ball. But I guess that is the joys of having these two dominant pitches. They can overcome that. I believe they can overcome that.
The rain has picked up in a little bit of intensity. You can hear the drums beating from the Hills dugout, adding a bit of, let's call it a moody, mysterious ambiance in this preliminary final. Full count, Danny Perez still battling away. That's what Sturt did really well in the qualifying final on the weekend. They had long at-bats and made Steph Brzezinski earn everything that she needed to on the weekend. A patient approach pays off. It's a walk, and Danny Perez is aboard.
These Hills players are definitely challenging Steph here. They're really taking her to full count. They just took her for two full count, and it's I guess it's a good challenge for Steph,
Alex Mackey, you saw her make that play to end the last inning. Just a solid, sure-handed play.
Yeah, another good contributor for this Hills Heat team, 9 RBIs on the season.
And someone that's been here really since the beginning of that Hills program, started at the A grade level in the Adelaide competition. Laid down a bunt right to Lana Kaiser, gets the force at 2, and they turn a double play.
What a play.
Sharp play from the West Torrens defense. Kaiser came charging in on the bunt, got a kind bounce and took it around chest height. Let's look at the leading team's replay, Janice, as she goes for the lead runner.
Yeah, look at her. She's all over that, and she went straight for the lead runner. She had no hesitation, and then Jordan Harris up at shortstop there, she had no hesitation as well. She knew she had that time to get to first base. Look at that. Such a great play.
They made that look easy. I mean, it's not often you even see double plays turned in a game of softball like this, especially with a bit of speed on the base pass, but that was just quick transfer everything.
Yeah. Lana Kaiser, one thing I've always known about her, even when I play against her, she's such an aggressive player. She's all over those bunts. The minute she reads your hands coming down for the bunt, she's all over it.
Makes it tough to play against.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you get it, as Abby Jorgensen steps in, Lana Kaiser on that play, on the bunt, she was moving in. right away. She was right there. She was maybe 5-6 feet away from the batter. Does that play in your mind when you're in the batter's box and someone's just standing right there saying, hey, if you put this down, I'm going to be there for it?
I mean, I try to drag it up to first base. I make them work for it.
Yeah, 5-6-4 double play for those scoring at home. The ball is getting wet on every pitch now, so Drazinski wants a dry one as Carly Allen takes an opportunity to go and just have a chat to her. We've got 2 out. It is a 2-0 count. This is the youngest player in the lineup. Let's make her get the ball into play. She has got a couple of running bunts down so far this season.
Well, she did an excellent job in the elimination final. She was pretty aggressive on the base paths. There's Steph Brzezinski finding what she needs to find and just get a ball over the plate.
That is a great pitch, and you know what I said before, she will overcome that. It doesn't matter whether it's rain, lightning, whatever. Steph will overcome that. She will find a way.
I was trying to find her name on the stat sheet. She's actually 3rd in the Hills Heat for batting averages. And she's laid down 3 running bunts for safe running bunts this season, 278 batting average, and there she is with a base on ball. So the second walk of the inning.
And it, second walk of the inning. Now it is 1-0 for Hills. The scoreboard down there does say 1-0 West Torrens. It is in fact a 1-0 Hills lead. Hills striking first off of an RBI double from Lauren Christensen, and now the 9th batter in the lineup, Maddie Rocher, with an aggressive swing right away.
That was a great swing. I mean, I'd be doing probably the same thing, especially if it is raining. They're going to be doing anything they can just to get that ball over the plate.
This has got to be an out for West Torrens as well. If Rocher gets on, can advance Jorgensen, it's trouble for the Eagles because it's Georgia Hood who's on deck.
Slips away. Key block there from Allen, but not enough because a runner does get in scoring position. James, great point. You don't want to tempt fate with Georgia Hood. Abby Jorgensen. Kathy Lambert was talking about the last broadcast. She liked the initial look that she saw on just her sprinting ability. This one pops straight up in the air, fighting the rain, and going right for it is Kara Schultz and gets a crucial out to retire the side. No more damage done. West Torrens will head to their bottom half of the inning, trailing by 1 run.
Yeah, tough chance for an infielder looking into the lights and the rain at the same time, Janice.
Yeah, it was a great pitch by Steph. A nice little change up there, and just got onto a little bit early and just straight up in the air.
We talked at the top of the broadcast, West Torrens really had a dominant part of, really since Christmas. And just before Christmas, December 16th, they had 13 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. One of that draw coming in their last game that they played of the season before the wiped out round, before they had a bit of a shock loss to Sturt in extra innings. West Torrens were the team that a lot of people were picking going into the finals. Hills, not a lot of people gave them a shot at the beginning of the year. How much pressure is on West Torrens?
I think they've definitely got their back up against the wall right now, but I would not be shocked if they just pushed right back, because I've seen them do it once, or not once, multiple times coming off a couple of these games. They've done it before. Why should tonight be any different?
Yeah, in the wet conditions as well, it might add a little bit high degree of difficulty for the Hills Heat defence, but the crucial part of it for West Torrens is that they need to get the ball in play. Steph Brzezinski is one of the top 7 batters in the competition, a 396 batting average. Has been one of the surprise packets of the season with the bat. We expect her to do the job with the ball, but just an added bonus for the West Torrens Eagles lineup.
She is leading things off, Hood to Drazinski. And now you can see that ball. A few of them, both pitchers slipping down low.
There's her numbers on screen, 21 hits on the season.
What's
pretty impressive, low strikeout count as well.
Yeah, 4 strikeouts. That's exactly what I was going to say, James. And when you're having over 60 turns about 60 turns at bat, only striking out 4 times, that'll play. Hot shot over the head of Danny Perez, and Steph Brzezinski aboard with a leadoff single. That's the first hit against Georgia Hood of the day.
Eastern Ghost comes into play, Janice. I'm sure you use the Eastern Ghost as well, playing for the Travelodge Aussie Spirit.
I actually do, yep.
Steph Brzezinski aboard, lead off on for the Eagles. That's their first hit of the ball game.
Oh, such a great hit too. Just straight line drive, straight over shortstop.
That's how she's just been driving the ball all season long. Kara Schultz, another good player that drives the ball pretty hard. She's got 15 RBI right there, second on the team in runs driven in. It's probably because she's got players like Steph Brzezinski on base all season.
Her contribution in the semi-final was a couple of key walks, getting on base. But as we mentioned a couple of times now, West Torrens weren't able to execute. But she goes behind in the count pretty early here, 0-2. We're going to have a timeout called from Amber Hood. She's got one knee saver on, and it looks like one of her clips has come undone as well.
Oh, goodness. I wonder if she knows she's got one knee saver on right now. I mean, me, myself, I wouldn't notice that. I definitely wouldn't notice that. I'd be very oblivious to that kind of stuff.
2-0 count coming to Schultz. Watches one right up high. Big pitch coming from Georgia Hood. 1-2 count, sorry. Got him mixed up. Driven over towards third. Peyton Daniels. Nice job bringing that in.
She had to think about the lead runner, thought better of it. I've just taken a great play. I'll fire it across to first for the first out. Steph Brzezinski into scoring position for Carly Allen, leading team's replay.
She did. Look at that. That's a great hit, and that's such a great grab. And that hesitation, I think she knew as soon as she hesitated, she had no time to go up to 2. So I think it was just a safer option, just go straight to 1. That was a good play there by Peyton.
Does put a runner in scoring position for Carly Allen. Back in the first inning with one out, West Torrens had Jordan Harris standing on second base, and they couldn't score. So they were 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position in the first inning. Let's see how West Torrens, in that key factor we talked about pregame, perform with their third and maybe fourth opportunity.
One high for a ball. So looking for anything loose here as well. Drazinski, we've seen her. She's aggressive on bases. So Janice, you mentioned she's an aggressive pitcher. We've just seen she's an aggressive batter as well, but she's also aggressive on base as well. Steph Drazinski, there's not much she can't do.
No, she's just aggressive in all things she does.
Hit up the middle. It finds a gap. Steph Brzezinski flying around third. Could be a play at the plate. Drazinski touches home. Allen's game is tied.
Allen diving in head first. She's just having a think about things. She is safe. Timeout is called. She took the extra base on the throw. Now that wet ball comes into play as Drazinski turns third, aggressively looking for home. She didn't have to slide. Leading team's replay, Janice.
Oh, look at that. I can see that center field. As soon as she let go of that ball, she knew it was slippery. It just slipped off the wrong part of her finger. Look at that great hit up the middle. She knows she's going home, and that slipped straight off the end of the fingers. I guess the positive part about it didn't go over the catcher's head. She still got it into the catcher.
Great insight from Traveller Aussie Spirit. Outfielder Janice Blackman. We mentioned it before, an outfield hit. Perhaps they hold up the throw to make sure that that runner doesn't get the extra base.
Yep.
Well, on that occasion, that's exactly what happened, and the Eagles have got a runner still in scoring position. That's Carly Allen on second.
And box ticked in terms of needing to perform with runner in scoring position. They're now 1 for 3 on the day. Alicia Marching steps up to bat. 0-2 count coming against Georgia Hood. And James, we mentioned this last broadcast about Andrew Scott being aggressive in sending runners around the base paths because he figures that, hey, there's a lot of things that have to go right to be able to throw that runner out at home. And now that it's raining outside, he was waving her around every moment of the game.
It adds that extra degree of difficulty. Carly Allen thought that one may have got away from the catcher, Amber Hood, but she trapped it, and so it only just fell reaching distance. She did have to break away and around the ball to make that throw over to third base. Peyton Daniel, the tag out made.
That was great aggressive running though. Look straight. As soon as she seen that ball fumble, she went straight forward. She didn't quite get there, but great aggressive running though at the same time.
Yeah, and sometimes you see that ball take a bigger bounce when that happens. It just sort of stopped dead. So now the bases are clear with 2 outs. She swings through that one. It's a strikeout for Georgia Hood. It's her second of the day. But West Torrens strike back. We're through 2. Hills, West Torrens tied at 1 in this preliminary final.
Well, if she just held off one more pitch there, Carly Allen. She would have had a courtesy runner as Alicia Munching strikes out on the next one. Can we try Lee Hull again in the stands? We'll, if you can hear us, mate, say hello and we'll bring you into the broadcast when we can hear you. But tying up the ball game after 2 complete innings, West Torrens, so they'll be happy to break that duck egg. They'll score that run and perhaps, you know, it can start a little bit of momentum. Now, what is causing chaos at the moment is the rain. Has it stopped raining for the moment? It's still dripping here. That's because we're under the edge of the grandstand, so we'll keep the umbrellas going. Thanks for holding your umbrella, Janice. I'm holding one, and Eric just helps himself to the lollies.
Snakes.
And Eric
I'm
is
scoring
eating
and eating snakes.
We've got priorities. We've got priorities here.
We absolutely have to do this, you know.
Many thanks to NITV for bringing you along here, Janice, as our special guest. NITV is an SBS channel that brings Indigenous stories and issues to Australian audiences nationwide, and you can catch all the softball action 10 a.m. Sunday on NITV, Channel 34, Fox 172, or SBS On Demand. If you don't have the app, sign up. It's free. You can go back and you look at all the Premier League action, or you can have a look at all the Indigenous stories that NITV bring you. Now, I also have another shout out to Marnie Norsworthy, who played for Glenelg in the late 1940s. She's watching with all her friends at Ality Nursing Home. So hello to Marnie Norsworthy, a big fan of the NIT Softball SA Premier League.
The glory days of the Glenelg Softball Club, the 1940s. Lots of premierships, maybe? I don't know. That's great, though. I love that we've got a watch party going on for this game.
I love it.
We hope you enjoy the game, and we hope you enjoy this matchup of Georgia Hood swinging at the first pitch. Sky high, it was awkward, and it falls Hood into second.
We saw that in the first inning, didn't we? Georgia Hood aggressively getting after a pitch. That time round, it was the outfielders too deep. This time, the outfielders were in too shallow for the power of Hood, and she's in a similar position, standing up at second base.
And that is such a crucial out right there, unfortunately. And Georgia Hood, even though, you know, she can still hit that ball, she can still run too. She's just as aggressive runner as Steph Brzezinski. So this will be interesting. They got to run her back and score in position. That's their leading run right there.
Now her sister Amber Hood gets to have a free swing. She doesn't need to bunt to try to bring her around.
Although she can bunt, she's had 5 safe bunts on the season and also laid down 2 sacrifice bunts, so very capable at getting the ball on the deck.
Yeah, she's quick.
Adding that offensive pressure, bringing that runner into third base, which gives you an extra chances to score with only none or 1 out.
I was going to say, you know what would be perfect right now? A little running bump, because you would put runners at split runners then. It would be a good little option to do, and then you've got Lauren Christensen coming straight up after.
Who already has that double today.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So
0-2 count. Hood is a really tough out. She grinds out at bats, extends them as long as she can.
some good eyes right there. Some good eyes.
Look how far off the base Georgia Hood gets. She's poised in position to take off on anything that's loose and anything that's hit on the ground.
She knows if anything's on that grass, she's going home. She 100% knows. As soon as it's out there, she's got to bust it to get all the way home. There it is.
Shot to right field and misplayed by Beal. Hood hustling to third, and Amber Hood steps into second. Two misplays in the outfield could be costly. It's runners on second and third.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. Two batters in a row. Should have been two catches. It just looked like it slipped out of the palm of the glove, really. But George, the safe thing the saving grace for West Torrens on that occasion was that Georgia Hood tagged up thinking the ball might have been caught, and so she only got one base.
I think Jackie Beal definitely thought that was just kind of going to drop into her glove, but it kind of just kept floating straight out to her, and she just didn't have time to kind of change that glove around. So unfortunately, it just bounced just straight out of the glove.
Well, Amber Hood was watching that. You saw in the leading team's replay. She was running, and she was sort of just slowed down as she was running to first. Then all of a sudden, she had to turn on the gas to get into second base. And now, Lauren Christensen, who already has the RBI double today, comes with a couple of hoods on second and third.
One thing I did love just before, I don't think anyone saw it, but Georgia Hood, even though she caught that, she was ready to tag up and go. Like, even though that ball was nice and short, she was getting aggressive, ready to go.
Tough conditions for all players tonight. Not much of a breeze. In fact, really not much to mention. You can see the back net. It's waving a little bit. It's the wet, it's the rain that is causing the most problems and difficulties for the players.
It's games like this you love being an outfielder, right?
Well, it does make it tough for the pitcher to get the grip as well, so the cold and wet fingers as well, so your spins might not be jumping around the place like you're used to seeing.
Even count. Ripped to the outfield. It's another RBI for Lauren Christensen. Make it 2 RBIs. Hills have a 3-1 lead.
Lauren Christensen, 2 hits, 3 RBIs in the game. And the Hills heat out to a 3-1 lead. Let's have a look at the leading team's replay. She pulled that one into no man's land.
Look at it, and she did the right thing there as a clean-up hitter. She hit behind her runners. She had runners in scoring positions on second and third, and that is your job as a clean-up hitter, is to hit behind that runner and score those runners to make it as hard as possible for that outfield to come around and get those outs.
So report card on Lauren Christensen today, 2 for 2, double, single, 3 RBIs. Is that good?
Yeah, terrific start. There's a little confusion there in the Hills Heat camp. Lauren Christensen looking for a base runner by the looks of things as young Georgia Ballard came out of the dugout with a helmet ready to run. But there's no outs, so they're going to let her run, and Peyton Daniels, bat in hand, in the batter's box.
I think one of the big things is this is grounded. Drazinski over to second.
Play.
She gets the leadoff runner. Walk us through this one on the leading team's replay, Janice Black.
Again, like I said before, Drazinski, just such an aggressive player. So as soon as she's seen this going down, she knew straight away she's going to 2. Look, she shaped up. She positions her body to get ready to get that throw to 2. So she knew exactly where she was going, whatever play it may have been.
Talia Rosa, the batter. 3-1 lead for Hills here in the 3rd inning. Well, it was 2 misplays in the outfield. And
how much does that hurt now?
when you get opportunities given to yourselves, we talked about this pregame. Hills, they might not get as many runners on, but they've been very opportunistic when they have all season long, and that has been the case tonight. Ball down low.
Great pitch there, Steph. It's a great pitch.
So it's a ball there. What was she trying to do? Just keep it low?
Just keep it low, because from what I've always planned, low balls always equal to ground balls. So nice ground balls and just get a nice ground ball to the infield.
Yeah,
because that's what they'd be looking for, a double play here.
And balls to the outfield haven't been their friend so far today.
Not really, no. Softball gods are definitely punishing those outfield for some reason. Softball gods aren't being very nice to them right now, are they? But I know that West Torrens in the infield here definitely be looking for a double play.
Well, West Torrens, that's been their undoing in the last few final series, hasn't it? It's been a couple mistakes that have come back to bite them, whether it be in grand finals, or you hope not to see it tonight either, James.
Yeah, it's not forgotten either in the West Torrens camp. They still talk about it a little bit. Talia La Rosa grinds out a walk. 2 runners aboard with only the 1 out in this inning.
Danny Perez, an RBI machine up to bat too.
Shame job. I was talking about a double play. It's already 2 out.
Just the 1 out. Only the 1 out so far. Yeah. Yeah. With so far this inning, Georgia Hood had a massive shot out to centre field. It tied Alicia Marchang into a knot. She got to second. Then Amber Hood hit a line drive out to right field, and then Lauren Christensen with that 2 RBI single.
And Perez goes pow!
This could be a play.
It's a runner at first, it's a runner at second, it's a runner at third. Load them up.
That was such good placement. Look how far back the outfielder standing, and all she did was just punch it straight over that second base's head.
Yeah, Peyton Daniels, for those thinking that maybe she could have turned to score, she just stumbled a little bit. You might see it at the top of the screen there, and she held up. She didn't even think about going after it. Just a little stumble for loaded bases and Alex Mackey.
Great batting here today from the Hills Heat. Has them up 3-1. They put the ball in play. There's been a couple mistakes.
That'll be an
This one
infield
popped up.
Nah.
So infield fly for Alex Mackey. Lana Kaiser takes that one. It was in the air for a long time.
It really was, wasn't it? We were waiting for a while. They were waiting for it to come down. Great hit, just a little bit early on that swing. Lana Kaiser, look, she was all over it. Making sure that runner doesn't go, definitely.
Bases loaded for Abby Jorgensen. This might be an at-bat that you'll come back and circle at the end of the game. 2 outs, bases loaded. Runners have got on because of a couple misplays. They've already scored 2 in the inning. Can they make it a big one? The youngster, Abby Jorgensen, watches this one go down low. Very patient start. She's got a lot of speed, so just because if it's an infield hit doesn't mean that it's going to be an automatic out. They'll have to look for the easiest play.
8th batter of the inning that started out with 2 missed fly balls. And Drazinski goes high in the zone, and Jorgensen just fans at that one.
That is some pretty good pitch sequences. First 2 were nice and low, and then she comes back in with a nice rise ball right at her hands and went straight at it. It was a good pitch sequence right there.
MC Sportswear special comments from Janice Blackman, the insight into the mind of a Travelodge Aussie Spirit player.
And I will say on those low pitches on Steph Brzezinski, they are very sneaky little pitches because the spin that she gets on that pitch, it looks like it's coming in as a drop ball, but then it kind of just sits there.
Patience again from Jorgensen. Rides up high. They're making her work for everything. Hills dugout can sense it. They're drumming along. Jorgensen in play, but Kelsey Nucky snags that one at first base. It's the final out, but Hills scored 2 more. They're up 3-1 heading to the bottom of the 3rd.
What a terrific inning from the Hills Heat. Leading Teams replay will show that Kelsey Nucky was all over that. Not in the batting lineup tonight. She has a couple of stitches. I'm sure she won't mind me sharing that from just a small little collision with Belinda White in the semi-final. I think we'll see if we can. We might take a break at the end of the bottom of this inning after West Torrens have had their bat. They do have an opportunity to claw their way back into this game, but I will point out, as we have got some wet conditions, if any more bands of rain come through and the game gets called, to constitute a game here in the Premier League, we need to complete 5 innings. Otherwise, we come back tomorrow night.
Now, if we come back tomorrow night in a complete hypothetical, because it's looking all right out there right now, would the scores hold? So say it's 3-1 at the 3rd, or do we restart the game?
Restart the game from
scratch.
nothing.
That would be, well, at this moment, it would be a break for West Torrens, but we're only in the middle of the 3rd right now.
And if it's a rain out tomorrow night, West Torrens will go through as the highest ranked team.
Lots on the line. Jackie Beal, she's been excellent in the 9-hole. Maybe there hasn't been a better batter in the competition batting 9th this year. She's got a high batting average that you were commenting on her before the game. You even noticed her just from watching the games at home. Yeah,
definitely. Very speedy, very speedy. And she uses all her tools in the toolbox, and that's the joys of being a slapper. I definitely know myself. And that is such a frustrating pitch to hit as a slapper is a change-up. I will definitely admit that.
And why is that?
Because there is a very slight chance you could hit it out of the box. Just a slight one. It's because as a slapper, you're already running through the ball. And then as a change-up, you're kind of holding yourself back, or if you keep running through, and if you hit the ball outside of the box, you're obviously out. So, I mean, that's a very dangerous pitch to be throwing to a slapper, because if they do get a hold of it, it can go over the infield, and and you don't want to slap her on base, because 99% of the time they are the quickest ones on the team.
Well, you can tell how quick she is with the whole entire infield inside the line. Looks like Peyton Daniels is fielding at the end of the batter's box, and the outfielders are all only a couple meters behind the grass. That is because Jackie Beal 14 hits on the season, hitting .326, but of those 14 hits, 7 of them are safe bunts.
The sign of respect, but Georgia Hood, again, a bit of off-speed, gets her to chase. It's the first out of the inning, and will turn the lineup over for West Torrens. Back to the top with Jordan Harris.
Great pitches there, and the team was very set up very perfectly there, because as a slapper, your goal is to hit it on that side of the field.
Third strikeout of the game for Hood, going at 1 an inning at the moment.
Jordan Harris reached on a walk, got to second base, but was stranded there, couldn't get any further. Game is 7 innings, not your 90-minute timed ones like you would see in the regular season or the minor rounds of the competition. 1-0 count. Up high again, Harris just taking a couple pitches, but I don't think Hood's really challenging her with anything in the strike zone right now either.
Well, Geordie's definitely one of those game-changing players. So as soon as she comes up, you know she can make or break this game. She can get this roll on for the West Torrens. If she gets on, you know she's hitting around.
Harris.
Numbers on the screen there, 8 walks on the season.
Oh, such a great pitch from Georgia. Hit that corner. Cut that corner right off of the outside pitch.
Don't you hate that corner,
Oh,
Janice?
100%. 100%. Didn't want to say that, but yes, 100%. As a lefty, though, that's my kind of pitch right there, because that's an inside for me, that pitch.
Harris watches that one down. She had eyes on it all the way. 3-1, hitters count.
Great peepers. Great peepers. I went to say pippers. That wasn't the right word. Peepers.
Disciplined batters in this competition, very watchful.
You saw in that last shot as Jordan Harris walks, there's a bit of a difference in the dugouts. I mean, in Hills, when they're batting, you have shots of the women in the dugout going absolutely crazy. They're playing drums, they're bouncing around, they're quite lively. It's a bit of a somber, almost stunned dugout right now on West Torrens' side.
I think it's more of a focus. Like, sometimes you can get so focused in you don't realize that, sometimes you might not be making as much noise as the other players. There was something that we kind of talked about when we were away at the Aussie Spirit, is that figuring out whether you're an internal or external players. And you can definitely tell West Torrens are more internal players, where they like to analyse and really focus on what they need to do. And then the Hills Heats are definitely external players. They definitely like those up and loud, and that's what gets them going, you know.
So which kind of player are you?
I think I'm more of an internal player, to be honest. I can be an external if need be, and depending on the day. But mostly more of an internal kind of player. Kind of like to stick to myself. Kind of like to do my own thing before the game, to get in my own space, and then go out there and put all my energy out on the field.
Great insights on that dugout energy, you can call it, from Travelodge Aussie Spirit player Janice Blackman, joining us for the broadcast in beautiful South Australia. Preliminary final 2-1 count. Lana Kaesler, she scored the run. That's called strike, and she just looks back with not the kindest look back to the umpire.
I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit of a late call from the umpy just there, so I kind of don't blame Lana Kaesler for looking at him like that.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Georgia Hood already with a strikeout this inning. Harris with some speed at first. She goes. This is chopped towards second. Harris.
That's safe at second.
Gets there in time, and that is what speed can do. Harris had a bit of a jump. She steps into second, and now it's runners on first and second. Look at the leading team's replay.
Right there, and you did see Geordie did get a nice lead off over at first there, and then as soon as she'd see that go over Georgia's head, she was cruising to second.
Yeah, she was safe by miles.
She was definitely safe by miles. I don't think she thought they were going to go for second just there.
Yeah, she didn't even need to. She wasn't even sliding. No. She wasn't getting down on it. So Faith Picard, she's 0 for 1 in the game. She had a runner on second at that time, too, with 1 out. Now she's got runners on first and second, again, with 1 out. Middle of the lineup, this is where you want to drive the runs home. Hills put 2 in there. She lays down a running bunt. A bit of a different approach.
That I I don't blame her because, you know, you got Geordie on second. No doubt that runner's going to get to third. And, you know, these guys will be expecting her to hit because she is that third at bat. And these two runners are in, well, Geordie's on scoring position. So
bit of a role reversal for these two teams. It's West Torrens that normally try to hit their way out of trouble. So interesting to see them lay down the short game with Picard, their 3-hitter.
0-2 count, drops in for a strike, Georgia Hood.
Oof, Georgia, that was a great
big
pitch.
one.
That was such a great pitch.
What was so great about that pitch? Walk us through it.
You know, she just came straight back in, and Georgia was not trying to do anything fancy right there. She was just using her spin, using her tools. She came right back in at her hands, and I don't think Faith was really ready for that pitch.
Yeah, she kind of buckled her. This is chopped over to first. That stays fair.
Oh, no.
It's called foul.
That was a lucky break for both teams because Hoyle gave up after she did a check swing. Alex Mackey looked like she nearly just got a glove to it, or maybe it was in foul territory, but let's have a look at the leading team's replays. So close to call as it started to spin in.
I mean,
chaos ball.
That's a 50-50 call.
Yep.
If it's fair, you're probably saying, yep, that's good. If it's foul, you're saying, yep, no complaints there.
Yep, that's exactly right. And Jordan was home. She was home all day on that. I think the Hills caught a pretty lucky break there because Jordan was definitely home. Lana was definitely at third.
Well, the runners will be going on any piece of the ball with 2 out, so look for Harris to score and look for Kaiser to go for extra bases.
Yep.
Hit to right field.
Drops in.
That's going to score 1 run. Lana Kaiser hustling around third. There won't be a play at the plate. It's a triple from the clutch woman herself, Sophie Hoyle. Is there a
better clutch hitter in the competition? Sophie Hoyle comes up with the goods again and just ties the game like that. It's been all Hills heat so far. There she is taking some composure, but let's look at the leading team replay. It drops in the corner.
That is such a good hit, and she could not do anything better with that pitch. That pitch was right off that corner, and it was Georgia cut that corner so well, but Sophie Hoyle was she waited for that pitch and she just went with it so nicely. And you can tell as soon as she hit it, she's going to third.
Did she fist pump halfway down the line?
Halfway down the line. Halfway down the line when that dropped, it was a massive fist bump. There's Andrew Scott dialed in. You're right. You mentioned earlier, Janice Blackman, that there seemed to be a level of focus in the dugout, and that's what it was here. Just stays fair.
Such a beautiful hit, and you know what? Now they got Steph Brzezinski coming up, who had a beautiful drive to left field just at her last at bat.
And a big come on towards the dugout.
That's definitely got the West Torrens fired up.
Brzezinski up the middle. That scores a run. West Torrens take the lead.
RBI single up the middle for Drazinski, her second hit of the game. She, of course, scored the first run for West Torrens. Scott Humphreys, coach of the Hills Heat, calling for a timeout. Talk us through it, Janice.
Another good little pitch there. Unfortunately, Georgia just left that over the plate just a little bit more than she needed to, and Steph Brzezinski just drove it straight up the middle. Unfortunately, shortstop couldn't get there just in time, but such a great hit from Steph.
James,
look, that was almost coming off the ground.
Runners in scoring position was a bit of a problem area for West Torrens in the last game they played. Tonight, especially this inning with 2 outs, on fire.
Well, shaky to start with as well, because Harris got a lead-off walk to start off the bottom of the first inning, and 3 batters left her in scoring position. However, they have now broken that curse. Now they're looking to pile on a couple more. You took 5 batters ago. Jackie Bill struck out to start off the inning. Everything going right for the Hills Heat. And in a flash, 5 batters later, a lucky infield grounder for Lana Kaiser, a base on ball for Harris, and then 2 back-to-back hits from the 4-5 hitters in Hoyle and Drazinski.
Well, Sophie Hoyle came up to bat with 2 outs. She just had a ball go foul. She was then down to 2 strikes, and since they were down to their final strike, they've scored 3 runs. Sophie Hoyle, in the semifinal on Saturday, in the 7th inning, had an RBI double to tie the game, and today she has an RBI triple, 2 RBI triple to tie the game, and Steph Brzezinski with her 2nd hit of the day turns out to be an RBI to score.
Speaking of RBIs, 15 RBIs for Schultz. She's third in the team behind Drazinski and Harris. But she had 2 walks in the semi-final against Sturt.
Something I like that Kara Schultz is doing right now is she's shortening up quite a bit on her bat. And that means she's not really looking to drive the ball too hard. She's just looking to punch it just over the infield. And that's all she really needs to do, is get that ball on the grass, because that will cause pressure in itself. Any ball on the grass will cause pressure on itself.
19 years of age, Kara Schultz. She's just about to head off to junior college.
And there it is.
Go, right
Punch
there.
to the outfield, right on cue.
Great call, Janice.
And that's all she needed to do, and 1 base at a time. She wasn't looking to drive it too much. She was looking to do right there, as you can see, that outside pitch, and she just goes with it nicely and just punches it straight over.
Leading team's replay. 1 bounce to Jorgensen. She fires it in with Drazinski now in scoring position. Schultz on first. I was just saying, she's following the footsteps of Tani Steptoe. She's going to the same junior college that she attended.
Oh, yeah, right. Yep.
Carly Allen, who is the catcher, so just a slight delay as she had to disrobe all her catcher's equipment.
Don't you love that?
High for a ball.
RBI double in her first turn at bat that scored Steph Brzezinski. That was in the 2nd inning. It's been topsy-turvy. Hills got on the board right away, made it 1-0 in the first. In the 2nd inning, West Torrens tied it to make it 1-1. Hills then in the 3rd scored 2 runs to make it 3-1. And now with 2 outs, West Torrens have piled on 3 runs. We're not even at the midway point of this contest. We've had multiple lead changes. It's back and forth, a heavyweight battle.
I think this is probably the most exciting game I've watched so far, watching all these preliminary finals and all the SA games, watching from Queensland. This has probably been my most exciting game.
Ooh. And there's still a lot more to go. Quick play from Amber Hood. Risky to throw it down there, because if they miss that play, runners advance.
I was just about to say that. They're throwing behind the runner at second, who could easily stroll across to third, but Drazinski decided better of it, just to hold off. But if that one goes wild, she could probably score from there.
That's exactly right. And then Steph, as we said before, is a very aggressive base runner, so very dangerous.
High for a ball, so 3-0 count for Allen. 2 out, catch a speed-up rule comes into play here as she gets a board from a walk. There's that pick-off on the leading team's replay. Oh, and Mackie just with the tag on the helmet.
Allen to the outfield.
There you go. What do we have?
It's over
And
the
it
head.
drops. 5-3 West Torrens. Held up at 3rd. The 2-out hit barrage continues.
We saw it in the top half of this inning. 2 balls misread by the outfield. Maybe there's a little bit of wind out in the outfield that we're not aware of. The outfield is just not reading the ball tonight. That one just cleared Jorgensen.
I was going to say, Jorgensen is quite in right there, and it doesn't look like she gets a very good read on it, but it is probably the same over in left field with a left-handed batter. It is the same over in right field with a right-handed batter. You know, that ball does tail out there, and it does travel.
9th batter of the inning for the Eagles.
And it was an inning that started off so innocently for the Hills Heat, who got a strikeout on the first at-bat. Harris walked, a fielder's choice, but they couldn't get Lana Kaysler out as Harris got safely to second on 1st and 2nd. A strikeout to Picard, double to Hoyle, single to Drazinski, and now Schultz and Allen are aboard. This is chopped right back to Hood. Throw down the line, but what an inning it was for West Torrens, who put 4 on the board and seized control of this preliminary final. It's 5-3. We'll see ya after this break. Back live, preliminary final. West Torrens just put 4 runs on the board after Hills kind of seemed in control. Eric Ballner here with Aussie, or Travelodge Aussie Spirit player. Janice Blackman, who's made the trip to South Australia to call the action. James Harris was with us, and now, so you can take a look at the Heat dugout, trying to get him back. We've got Lee Holt, longtime state coach in South Australia. Lee, that was an eventful first 3 innings.
What's happening? What's happening there, Eric? I couldn't believe it. I'm sitting in the stand out of the rain, and I'm watching the action. Hills had bases loaded and couldn't score them, and the Eagles did.
That is, we talked about that in the broadcast, Lee, is when Abby Jorgensen was up to bat with 2 outs, bases loaded. We said this could be an at-bat that you circle back later in the game as a crucial opportunity for Hills to try to score some runs.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when they had the bases loaded, the batter came in, went for the first pitch, which once the pitch is behind, you just need to keep the pressure on. Go full count if you can.
Maddie Rocher swings through that, and I know the defense hasn't been its regular self behind Steph Brzezinski. Do you think this is going to help settle her down a little bit into the game?
I think it definitely will. Runs always make a pitcher definitely feel at ease because they've got runs they can back up then. They can run, they can give up. But knowing Steph and the kind of pitcher she is, she wouldn't want to give up any runs right now. Definitely not.
Back to the top of the lineup, Georgia Hood batting. She's 2 for 2 with 2 doubles.
And how good a batter is Steph. Hits the ball hard, cracking shots. The shot from Sophie Hoyle, brilliant, wasn't it, down right field line?
Absolutely amazing. She just went with that ball so beautifully.
Yep.
Lee, as we watch another pitch come in here to Hood, who swings through that good, fast, hard swing.
That is such a nice swing, George. Oh, you could hear that swing over on this commentary box. He just went, woof, one of those liner swings.
She makes contact, it's going.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Going long, going deep.
Lee, what do you make of what's happening out in the outfield? Both teams with a few misplays of what we normally think.
Just misjudged them, haven't they? A couple of times the centre fielder has been under the ball and it looks like going to be a perfect catch, and it's cleared it by 2 metres.
Uncharacteristic from both teams.
Yeah, I think it's wind. There's a bit of wind up there, and slippery ball. It's not great playing conditions, but it's the same for both sides, so there's no excuses.
1-2 count to Georgia Hood. Called strike. Georgia Hood can't believe it. She's questioning the umpire, but she's going to have to go and walk off with a strikeout. She does not believe it.
At the same time, I think this umpire is just calling it a little bit late, so I can understand why these girls aren't sure what the call really is.
You can see back in the dugout, Georgia Hood.
Because to be honest, I thought it was a ball too, but then he called strike, and I was like, oh, okay. And I think that's the exact same pitch.
It was an anticlimactic strikeout, though, as Georgia just stood there getting ready for another pitch and turned around and said, wait, what?
Yeah. I mean, it was a great pitch by Steph, but I think the umpire's just calling it a little bit late, that's all.
Well, big out here because up next is Lauren Christensen, and she is 2 for 2 with a single and a double. She's got 3 RBIs in the game, accounted for all their runs, and it's because Georgia Hood and Amber Hood have been getting on base. First strikeout to Hood. Second out of the inning after Rocher went down. Steph Brzezinski really settling back in.
It's the best I've seen Lauren bat this season, bar none, any other game. Just hitting the ball really hard. And I come back to the conditions. The conditions favour the batters.
Yeah.
Doesn't
100%.
Don't they?
Put the ball in play. Good things happen. 1-1 count. Amber Hood. Jordan Harris. So calm. So easy. Makes
smooth.
a difficult play look quite simple. We'll get a look at it on the leading team's replay. Janice, walk us through this one.
Just beautiful, smooth play. As you can see, Amber Hood, she gets all of this and hits it straight along the ground. Geordie stays nice and low, gets into position, goes through the ball and throws it over to first. Beautiful and smooth.
So here's a look inside the commentary booth. Eric Ballner with Janice Blackman, Lee Hull. We're at the midway point of the game. 5-3. We've had a couple of lead changes already. Hills, they had all the momentum. 3-1. Bases loaded. They couldn't score the runs. West Torrens comes storming back. It's been an arm wrestle, game of momentum.
100%.
What do Hills need to do to get that back on their side?
Oh, I think they just got to stick with their momentum. Their momentum's been really, really good. Their energy's been really good. They just need to keep that up. I don't think they can drop anything at this point because that's what's going to make or break them. They need to stay up with their energy, up with their at-bats and everything. They just need to stick to what they're doing, and it will come.
And they're playing with such confidence, aren't they? They're the real deal, as we've mentioned before. Terrific to see a young side like this giving their best shot. When the door opens a little bit, then you've got to burst through it. You get the opportunity, take it.
They've
100%.
never made a grand final before, the Hills Heat. In the first year, they did get to a preliminary final, a couple down years, but this year they've really bounced back, especially in the last half of the year, and challenged some of those top sides.
100% correct, as our fellow commentator Mark Cramp would say. That's one of his favourite sayings.
Well, you feel like this is also a danger inning right now, though, for Hills. Last inning, Jackie Beal led things off. They ended up scoring 5 runs. Now you're going to have the likes of Jordan Harris, Lana Kaesler, and Faith Picard going the 3rd time through the lineup when those adjustments just keep getting made.
Sorry. Say that again, sorry.
Well, with just all the 3rd time through the lineup, adjustments
Yeah.
are just going to keep getting made from the batting side.
Yeah, definitely. And I think both teams know what they need to do. They just need to execute at this point. They have a plan. Now it's time to execute.
So Jackie Beal leads things off. She had a good battle in her last at-bat. It was not that long ago. It was just in the last inning. She eventually struck out. See if Georgia Hood can set the table again here as the bottom of the 4th gets underway.
I was definitely going to say too, look, the field is definitely set up the exact same way they set up before as well. So you've got Peyton Daniels right on the line, all the way down the line, all the way towards the batter, and you've got shortstop Danny Perez in as well. Oh, that's not a bad choice right there. I mean, take them on, take that challenge on.
It's a very good point you've pointed out, because this girl Jackie Beal will hit the ball in that direction. The left fielder needs to be on the dirt because it won't go that far, and you've got to, because she can run too with it. And when she makes contact, that is.
Yeah. Yes.
Just a small detail.
Yes. I was going to say, as a slapper, when you're aiming that way, because that side has to make the furthest throw.
Yep.
So it gives you more time to kind of run up to first base there.
Second strikeout on Jackie Beal of the day. It's her 4th strikeout overall for Georgia Hood. We go back to the top of the lineup. Jordan Harris, 2 walks on the day.
The danger about this for the Heaters, when Geordie gets on base, a lot of the time she scores just simply with her leg speed.
And one thing I've noticed with this Torrens team, when Geordie gets on, they feed off that. As soon as she gets on, it just keeps going. It's like a domino effect for the Torrens, because Lana Kaesler comes up and she gets on, and then it just keeps going.
Big swing. We
Great
haven't seen a whole lot of big swings from Jordan today. It's been a patient approach, but she got one she wanted, but she just missed it in a big smile.
That's
A free hit, wasn't it? Geordie says, I'm letting out a bit of air here, and away we go.
That
slips away.
Yeah, sometimes you do have those kind of swings where you feel like everything is so perfect and then you just miss the ball. You're like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, well, never mind.
Let's stop being perfect and let's fluke one.
Yes. And then the good hits come off the really, not good-looking swings. And I'm like, well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
What a funny game. Harris gets down low, stays with it. La Rosa, that ball skidded up on her. She still makes the out.
I was going to say, with all the spin that Georgia has and the way Geordie hit that, because she hit that off that spin, that's going to be a tough ball to grab. Even though those slow rollers are tough, here we go, we might see it here. So much spin. You can see it spinning on that dirt at the same time. And as soon as she got it in the glove, just rolled straight up her arm. Yeah.
Look at the leg speed from the number 7 for the Eagles.
I was going to say, she wasn't too far off that
No,
first
she
base, was she?
Make one little fumble, she's safe.
Yeah.
Lana Kaesler, this time no runners on. Good settling inning so far. Rides inside.
There you go.
Lana's had a couple of look-backs tonight.
I don't think it's the pitches they're too concerned about. I think it's the late call of the strike. They're just like, wait a minute. Okay.
Now Georgia can't believe it. It's because I think she's thinking back to the at-bat where she probably threw it a little bit higher and it was called for a strike, and that one was lower than that.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was referring back to that.
But Kaysler now well ahead.
Heat's got to get out of this innings with no further runs.
Hood just trying to regather just a little bit.
Yep.
Picard due up after Kaysler. Throws one in for a strike.
I think she's nodding then, Lana.
I was going to say, he's liking them high ones. He has called those high ones in the past couple of at-bats, and he is liking those high ones.
Good point.
You know, and I think these West Torrens girls, I think they might adjust to that soon.
She swings through it.
Pitch. Great swing from Lana, and that was a great pitch from George.
It looks like Lana Kaysler's having a lot of fun in this battle out there.
Oh, George. Got that nice slow motion. Oh, Sissy.
Kaysler, good swing, stays alive in the at-bat. This battle not over yet. Good gamesmanship between the two players here.
One thing I love about Lana Kaysler's swing is that it's nice, short and sweet, and she just punches the ball. And when she gets it right, when she gets that timing just right, that ball just goes. See? Oh, that's
goes again,
that's
just foul.
Yep.
So we're going to enter pitch number 7 of this at-bat.
All you can ask for when you're batting, get your money's worth. She's getting it.
Yeah.
Pitch number 8 even. It's a full count.
Oh, okay.
One thing I love about it, she never looks for the fence. She just looks to drive that ball hard.
Yep.
You know?
Outside.
Such a good battle.
Great battle won by Lana Kaysler. She'll head to first with the walk. Faith Picard, she struck out twice on the day, looking to break that goose egg.
Nice big breath right there before she goes into the box, just to relax that heartbeat. George is hitting those outside corners so perfectly.
Yep.
She is not missing one spot on that outside corner, is she?
No, and I think because the rain's gone away for a while now, it's made it easy for the pitchers.
Yeah, definitely.
Just a bit up high. Both teams have misplayed some balls in the outfield if you are just joining us in the broadcast, and it's cost both teams some runs. Hills accounted for 2 of them in the 3rd inning, and then West Torrens, a ball that probably should have been caught, ended up scoring a few runs with some 2-out hitting.
That's a beautiful pitch.
Great changeup.
This is a crucial out, knowing that Sophie Hoyle, who has been clutch all season long and just had that 2 RBI double in her last at-bat, is standing on deck.
Would not be shocked if she goes for another one here, George. There.
Up high, Kaysler slides into second, and she's put herself into scoring position with a stolen base.
She's a quick runner, Lana Kaysler. Don't be misled.
No,
you think she can't run. She is quick.
And you know what? That was a great pitch for her to go on too, because it gave a bit of pressure on Amber Hood here behind the plate. Because that ball is coming in slow. She's got to make a really good throw up to 2. Ooh.
Picard swings through it. That will end the attack. It's strikeout number 6 and Picard's 3rd strikeout of the day. An important hold, as you mentioned, Lee Hull, but they didn't get any more runs across the board from the Hills' perspective.
Now they've got to come back with a bat, Eric.
Well, they'll have the middle of the lineup to do it in Lauren Christensen, Peyton Daniels, Talia LaRosa. We've played 4. We're now entering the later stages. Now, normally, as we reach the 9:20 local time mark, we would be entering the final moments of a game. It's 80, no new innings after 85 minutes. We've played 80, Now we're playing the full 7. Does length of time of a game make a difference if maybe you're not used to playing the full 7 innings or playing longer than 90 minutes?
I mean, for me, not really, because I'm so used to playing 7 innings. And, like, when you are playing 7 innings, you don't even realize it could be 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours sometimes, you know. And when it's on time, it's more like, for some reason, it feels longer, you know. But when you play 7 innings, it doesn't feel as long. It makes no sense at all. But, yeah, to me, it doesn't make too much of a difference.
Well, the mindset you need is that you can play at a different pace. I think you can play at a different pace when it's no time limit to it. And I mean, the players will attack that situation differently, one from the other. You know, it depends on the person themselves. But it's since the rain is gone, as I've said, it's a lot better for the pitchers. So Steph is going to get control. Georgia, we've just seen her with control, so that's good.
It almost feels like we're playing 2 different ball games in one. First game was kind of cold, bit windy, bit rainy. Now it's still not a lot of moisture in the air, a little bit humid even out there. It's a completely different ball game.
It's becoming basic stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do the basics right. They always teach you when you're a young person. Do the basics right. They'll stand you in good stead.
Lauren Christensen, it's a moonshot towards center field. It drops in front of the wall. Christensen has 2. It's another double. What a game for Lauren Christensen. She's 3 for 3 with 3 RBI, and she saw all of that.
I just love how aggressive she is at the plate. Like, look at that. She saw that nice and big, and she just went straight for it.
Well, Steph and Lauren played together a few years ago.
Yeah.
Torrens Valley Red Sox. So they know each other. But that was a long ball. It looked like it had a chance to clear the fence or at least reach the fence. It's only short by a couple of metres, a few metres.
That's such a downside when you get to play with people for so long. Hey, you just know them way too well. Yeah. And unfortunately, you know, Steph is a pitcher. So if you've known her for a very long time and you come up to bat, you do have that advantage, you know. But then she also has that advantage of you as well as a batter. She knows you as a batter.
Yep.
We have a runner for Lauren Christensen. It's Georgia Ballard. Is it? Who's standing over it? No, I don't think it is. Who's standing out at second there, Lee Hall?
Well, it looks like Mackenzie Ween, but
Mackenzie Ween, yes, it is.
It is, isn't it?
It is Mackenzie Ween.
That's who it looks like.
The flex player on the day running for Lauren Christensen, who's having an absolute heater today. 2 for 3 for 3, 2 doubles and 3 RBIs.
On a night like this.
Now gust of wind coming through. Bunt laid down by Peyton Daniels that advances the runner.
Ooh, Steph.
So Peyton Daniels with a sacrifice bunt.
And that was such a good bunt there. And you can see Steph come down. And she's got runs to spare. So she was just taking it nice and easy, throwing over to first. And then, yeah, good out.
Basic stuff.
Basic
the ball and the play.
That's exactly right.
Let the runner run.
Do the basics and good things will come.
Yep.
Talia La Rosa, the batswoman. She's 0 for 1 on the day. She's got a walk. Mackenzie Ween running for Lauren Christensen, standing at third. Hills need 2 runs to tie it, but it is a 7-inning game. If another band of rain does come in, it looks like we'll be able to get this game in. All you need is 5 innings. And James Harris is showing us the weather radar, and it looks like there is another band of rain coming in. But, again, you only need 5 innings. This one chopped around, but maybe that didn't put some urgency on Hills just to grab what you need right now.
But then it puts a little bit of, might be a little bit of motivation for the Hills to kind of just be like, you know what, let's get this now. Let's go at it now.
Runner on third, La Rosa. Crucial moment in the game. Is the rain starting to drizzle just a little bit out there? Wacky and wild weather conditions. Keeps things interesting. La Rosa in a good battle. She's fouled the last couple pitches away. Drazinski.
Great pitch.
Massive strikeout for Steph Brzezinski. Her 5th of the day, and I'll tell you what, since those runs crossed the plate in the 3rd, Steph, for the most part, looked pretty locked in.
Look at this pitch. Just a beautiful.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Put it under the letter P for perfect.
Tailing low
Yep.
on the outside edge. Jam shot.
Hey. Oh.
Called a foul ball. Danny Perez up to bat. She's had some clutch hits all year. Hazel, look at this replay.
I thought that would have been just a foul, but nobody was calling it. And then technically kind of dead ball now. But
runner on 3rd, 2 outs. Hills need to capitalize. Steph looking for the call, goes down low.
And that's that low ball I was talking about before. It looks like it's going to drop, and then it kind of just sneaks in right at that last minute.
Jam shot, Carly Allen right in the breadbasket, and they get out of the inning. A runner gets to 2nd and then 3rd. Hills can't take advantage. We're going to the bottom of the 5th, and West Torrens with a chance to add on some more runs.
I was going to say, and this is the time for West Torrens just to hammer that in. Look at that. That's a beautiful catch. Get right under it. And that ball was not missing that glove.
Well, I mentioned it in that inning, Steph. Since those 2 runs crossed in the 3rd, and they weren't really her fault, they were balls that the outfield probably should have had, and they ended up falling. Steph Brzezinski has looked pretty locked in and kind of elevated her game, really when her team needed the most, when she couldn't allow anything more.
Yeah, definitely. She's a very, very, like we said before, very aggressive, but also still staying in control. Staying in control what she can control and only she can control.
And as the rain went, it made it a lot easier for the pitchers.
100%.
It's the toughest position, isn't it, when you get those sort of conditions?
The outfield's pretty tough too, but
Yeah.
I'm not allowed.
Let me ask you a pointed question. What position do you play apart from outfield?
Outfield, I played a little bit of infield and a bit of catcher. I'm not gonna lie, I can't pitch to save my life. So, even if the ball's wet or dry, I still can't pitch to save my life.
Well, it's a lot of work goes
it
into
is,
being
definitely.
the top pitcher, doesn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
Well, Georgia Hood back in the circle warming up. She's going to have to face Sophie Hoyle. That's her on screen. Steph Brzezinski will followed by Kara Schultz. It's a really, really dangerous middle part of the lineup for the Eagles. Crucial that the Hills lock this down. They only have 6 outs left in their pocket, maybe on their season. It is the preliminary final. A 4-run 3rd inning from West Torrens is the difference maker in this game. They are down 3-1. Winner advances to play Sturt on Saturday night. Sophie Hoyle watches the first pitch over the plate, strike 1.
And these next 4 batters all had a safe hit their last turn at bat. That spells danger to me.
That's a great point, Lee. Back in the 3rd inning, it was a double from Hoyle, a single from Drazinski, a single from Schultz, and a single from Allen. That also had an RBI. That accounted for all 4 of those runs in the 3rd inning.
And I think George doesn't need to try and blast them out here. You mentioned how good her pitches, that off-pace pitches were. She needs to mix them up here, for sure.
I was going to say, I just think I've seen what Amber Hood's definitely doing right now. Sophie Hoyle did definitely go with that outside pitch so nicely right now, so she's definitely going out of hands.
Yep.
Amber's definitely going out of hands right now. So I won't be shocked if she comes back with an off-speed on the outside. Would not be shocked, but don't quote me. Just to throw her off that speed, just to throw her off that timing a little bit, because Sophie Hall, she just has beautiful timing. So right now, I think the crucial thing to do is to throw off her timing.
Let's see what happens here, because we'll explain in a second. Georgia Hood, here's the pitch.
Good check.
Lee, Janice has been making a few of your Nostradamus-like predictions during
So she's been
this game.
tuned in before, has she? Okay. And how's she been going, Eric?
She's been like you, pretty bang on the money with most of the calls.
Okay.
Sophie Hoyle Now
I'll
worked
give
it
you a
back to the
tick
full
for
count.
that.
Lovely.
The tick of approval
Yes.
from longtime state coach Lee Hull.
You know, I didn't get very much ticks from my old coaches or my teachers, so yes, done.
Hoyle,
there we go.
chop back
Here we
down
go.
the right field line. Abby Jorgensen makes no mistake about this one. She's gone opposite field a couple times today. That is out number 1 of the inning.
And look at this again, Sophie Hall just going with this outside pitch so nicely. But Abby Jorgensen, she was ready for that pitch on the outside.
Promising young player, Abby.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, can
Good
run.
read on the ball there.
Yep. Looks like a softballer then.
Oh,
doesn't
definitely,
she?
definitely.
As most outfielders do.
Yes, yeah. Sort of
So
kind of, yeah.
Throw that one in.
You know what I've also said? Oh, well, we've also know every good softballer always pulls out a really nice wedgie.
Steph Brzezinski up the middle. 3
Again.
hits on the day for Steph Brzezinski. What a performance she's turning in.
And look at this. She just goes with the ball so nicely, doesn't she? And again,
Yeah,
I think
power.
George just left that over the plate just a little bit too much there. And again, for Steph, she attacks it. She does not let that go. You know, and as a batter, you know, if they are going to throw that one down the middle, you know, you're going to put it there, we're going to take it.
Good look at the leading team's replay. Cara Schultz rides inside. Well, maybe a crucial run. You feel like West Torrens maybe need 1-2 more runs to really put this one away. Steph Brzezinski doesn't allow much, so Hills can't let this gap get much bigger.
Oh, great pitch.
Batter's got to shorten up now and just try and punch the ball somewhere.
Well, that's what she did in the last at-bat. That was one of the great predictions from Janice Blackman earlier.
You can definitely, then she's doing it again just now. That's all she's got to do is just punch it straight back out there. Oh,
She got buckled.
oof. That's that off-speed pitch that just throws off your timing, and you're just like, damn it. That's what you're
Move
saying.
in, baby.
You're saying that in your head, but your facial expressions are like, oh no, I got this.
I'm cool.
I'm okay.
Big strikeout, bit of emotion shown from Georgia Hood on the mound. 7 strikeouts on the day. We were only through 5 2/3, a big out.
Yes, and this next batter batted well. Carly Allen, my goodness.
2 for
2
2.
safe hits, yep.
She had an RBI back in the 2nd inning. That scored the first run of the day. Hills scored right off the bat. They scored their first batter they had. Georgia Hood got on, was moved around. West Torrens responded. Then Hills scored 2. West Torrens responded with 4, and that's where we are now.
I think both catchers have had excellent games.
Yeah, that's a good point. They've not really allowed anything past them, have they?
Especially in poor conditions early, you'd expect the ball getting away with somebody on, may score a run or at least put them on another base. But no, haven't seen that, which is good.
Allen jammed just a little bit, and that falls.
Fair. Oh, there's
a fair play.
there's
A play
runner.
over at third. It's going to be a run down.
There's a run down.
Play over at second.
Here we go.
It's
Oh,
going to be an
Steph.
escape.
Oh,
Who's going to
Steph.
get there? Steph
Oh,
Brzezinski in
Steph.
trouble.
Almost trying to go under. That's okay.
That was almost unlucky. She was caught in the wrong place, wrong time. But another hit for Carly Allen. That does end the inning, and crucially, Hills score it. There it is. Now, walk us through this rundown. What do you do when
Look
you're
at
trapped
that.
in a rundown like this?
You know what? Like, Steph could only do what she could. Like, I think we've all been stuck in one of these plays before, and you just keep going. But then you got to also rely on your team members to also help you out if there's, if there's anybody at the bases or covering the bases, So Steph could only do what she could there, unfortunately. Every time a play like that or rundown goes down, like the first thing that pops into my mind is the Sandlot. How they always yell out, "Pickle!" I'm like, I can't yell that out.
In a serious situation, that's all you're coming out with.
Yes, that's all I'm coming out with. Oh, thank you.
We are now entering, though, the 6th inning of play. That means we finished 5 as another band of rain you might see on screen just starting to sweep in here. But we now have a result, so we're getting the result in no matter what. The field has been holding up pretty good throughout the contest, though.
Really beautiful, really beautiful. Nice little breeze, at least. At least we get a nice little breeze. I'm sure some of these girls would rather play in this nice, beautiful breeze than hot weather, right?
Yes, we haven't had too much hot weather for our summer this year. It's maybe 5 really hot days. So, like you say, it's a lot easier to run around and keep warm.
See, for me, I love the heat. So, like, this is not good for me. Cold is not great for me. I pack like an Eskimo when it's only probably like 20 degrees in Sydney or something. My coach is like, Janice, how many layers you got on? 3, but that's none of your business.
But it's 33 outside. Well, crucial part of the game here, and I'll tell you why. Alex Mackey, Abby Jorgensen, Maddie Rocher due up. They're the 7, 8, 9 batters in this Hills lineup. If just one of them can get on base, it turns it over for Georgia Hood, Amber Hood, and Lauren Christensen to possibly do some damage. And they're running out of time. And a first pitch swing.
Go.
This might find a gap. It does. It's
Straight
off
to
the wall.
fence.
Alex Mackey with a leadoff double, and here come the Hills.
I tell you what, when she had bases loaded and she came in the bat, she would have taken it then. That would have scored at least 2. Last turn at bat.
Unfortunately, Steph just left that over the plate just a little bit too much on the first pitch. But those pitches, they do like to get in front. But unfortunately, Alex Mackey, she was just ready for that. She was going for that first pitch. You could tell by her eyes. You could just tell by her face she was going for it. And look, headed straight to second. She knew as soon as that come off the bat, she's headed straight to second. Look, she's fired up too.
You think she knows that this is a big moment of the game?
Oh, 100%.
Young Georgia Ballard. I think she's just 15 years old. She's moved in and she's running on second base. She's got some wheels. This girl can fly. Abby Jorgensen, they just need someone to score a run. Runner looked like there she was going. She backs off just a little bit.
It's not a bad idea using all those tools that you got in your toolkit.
We welcome James Harris back in the commentary position.
Thanks, Eric. 4th time in 6 innings that Hills have led off the inning with a double.
With a double? Oh. They've only scored 3 runs.
Georgia in the first, Georgia in the third, Lauren Christensen in the 5th, and Alex Mackey here in the 6th.
Wow. They have got runners in scoring position, but since they had bases loaded, they haven't been able to score any of them.
I guess it goes to show that stats don't mean a thing. West Torrens have 23 more extra base hits on the season over the Hills Heat.
It's almost one of those things in a big game, and I'm sure you can attest to this, Janice. Stats don't matter anymore. We're back at square zero.
100%, and that's where what we were saying before, doing the basics right, and, good things do come. Take those risks, go and have fun, because that's what this game is about, And in these kind of times, that adrenaline's running. So you honestly don't know what's going to happen. Those players that maybe haven't hit all season come out with that one special hit in the game that when it counts. I've seen that happen many, many times.
Good turn at bat from Abby Jorgensen. Called strike. Steph Brzezinski has her 6th of the day. It's an important one with a runner in scoring position.
And that low rise is so dangerous for Steph Brzezinski. She's got such a beautiful spin on this low rise, and it just kicks right at the right time. Look at that. And that is right at the top of that strike zone. You can't fault that in any sort of way.
Maddie Rocher, 0 for 2 on the day. Little shot, diving play, couldn't make it. Advances the runner to third. Runners are on the corner, and Georgia Hood's coming to bat.
Jordan, she had that 1 extra inch. She was so close to that.
Yeah, she's pretty
Great
dark
hit.
on herself as
And
well
look at
by the
that.
looks of things,
Oh,
just out of
no.
her reach. Picard was right there, though, to reduce the damage. Only a single for the runner from second. And Maddie Rocher wasn't looking for the extra bases, as West Torrens would have been looking for the runner at third.
Look at that. That's such an annoying little hit right in that gap. That little bleeder that's right just over there, just out of the reach of Jordan, and just in front of the left fielder.
Well, James, a big game is just a series of evolving and progressing big moments, and this might be the biggest one we've had yet. Runners on the corners, Georgia Hood up to bat, Amber Hood due up. We're in the 6th inning. We don't know if they're going to get another turn to bat in this game. This might be the last opportunity for their star players to do star player things.
2 doubles in the game for Hood. You'd be tempted. There's a base there.
Do you consider passing her up? Not with Amber Hood and Lauren Christensen, surely. I know they just threw the first pitch.
If this gets to a hitter's count, you probably wouldn't even bother.
I mean, she's got one run to spare, and the outfielders have given themselves a little more room.
I'm surprised she didn't go there. That was down the pipe.
Such a dangerous hitter to have up to bat right now with 2 runners on.
I'm so surprised they haven't tried something, even move that runner across to second. Maybe they're thinking they'll walk Georgia. As I look down at the stat sheet, Rocha has a stolen base on the season.
She swings at it. It's jammed into foul territory. Crucial out needed, and they get it. Lana Kaesler. So they go after Georgia Hood, who had runners on the corners with 1 out, and she fouls out.
I mean, this is such a crucial out right here. This is such a big out for the West Torrens, and I thought Lana Kaesler was going to have a bit of trouble with that. I didn't hear much talking from the catcher just to let her know whether she was clear or not, but good catch by Lana Kaesler right there.
Probably the biggest out of the game.
Yeah.
Just lightens the load. Amber Hood is no easy out. In fact, one of the hardest outs in the competition. On base percentage of over 500. It's more likely she gets on base than get out. She doesn't strike out all that often.
And both Amber and Steph look really locked in here, so it could be anyone's game at this point.
Key block. The runner didn't take off on the loose pitch. Well, I wonder if it's in the back of the mind of Drazinski with Lauren Christensen on deck, 3 for 3 on the game.
Who has just read her like a book today.
Got to make this out.
Huge out. Trying to get them to the last with the lead. Good swing from Amber Hood, just chopped foul, but she's now down to 2 strikes.
Now on the flip side of that coin, Eric, the skipper of this team, Amber Hood, gets on base. If they get the ball in the play and she gets on base, a run will score. If she just gets on base, she'll load them up. Anything here, and she brings her team right back into the game here in the top of the 6th.
She's just got to put the ball in play, and then something will happen. That's all she's got to do.
Slips down low, good block from Carly Allen. Brings it to a 2-2 count. You can feel the tension pick up just a little bit. The Heat dugout can sense how important this one is. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Hills down by 2 in the preliminary final. Hood puts it in play. Harris can't quite make a play on it, and it is a 5-4 game.
See the ball die on the second bounce there. It dribbled through to left field and into the gap. An RBI single to Amber Hood.
Look at that. All she did was put it in play. She just put bat to ball, made contact, and good things happen.
Lauren Christensen is 3 for 3 with 2 doubles, a single, and 3 RBI. Do you consider passing her up, James Harris?
You got to consider it, but with runners on second, maybe you go at it. Courtesy runner is Georgia Ballard for Amber Hood with the 2-out catch a speed up. Christensen aggressive on that first.
Yeah.
It's just, would you rather face Lauren Christensen or Peyton Daniels? Both tough outs, but right now Lauren Christensen is as hot as they come.
Well, that lead runner is on first base. Do you opt to put that lead runner in scoring position?
Good point. Huge shot again. This heading to a tricky position, and it falls! He'll score 1 run. Runner being waved around. Lauren Christensen has put the Heat back out in front. Can you believe it?
Massive shot from Christensen. She didn't get to second because she missed the base again. This time she came back to touch it. But wow, what a shot. It went all the way to the fence, leading team's replay.
Oh my God.
It was 2 outs, and they were 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. And just like that, the Hills Heat, with the 3rd or 4th lead change of the game, are now up.
You did see
6-5.
She did miss that first base. Unfortunately, she did do what you just said, James. She walked back and she touched that base.
Another one misread in the outfield tonight. Something's playing havoc out there. these players have been almost perfect in the outfield in this whole entire Premier League in the outfield this season, and that's the fourth one we've seen misjudged tonight.
What I have noticed though, there's not very much communication out there. So as you can see on that relay, when when they threw it back to Jordan to go in for home, Jordan didn't know whether that runner was going to go home or not. I think that's you got to communicate to each other, especially for those guys in the outfield, and especially to that relay player.
Lauren Christensen, 4 for 4, 2 doubles, and 5 RBIs. 5. That is clutch play in a preliminary final when it's all on the line. Peyton Daniels now the batter. Chopped foul down to her second strike.
What I'm absolutely loving about this game right now is that it's clutch teams, just clutch teams going back and forth. You know, at the start, Hills got the lead on, and then West Torrens came back, and then, you know, back forth and back to the heat. They came back on top, and then West Torrens came back, and now Hills have come back, one in front.
You got to love this.
A big strikeout, as that will end the attack, but Hills put 3 runners on to seize the lead back. Unbelievable scenes in the preliminary final.
Hills Heat have got 10 hits in the game, 7 strikeouts for Drazinski, but 6 runs on the board and the all-important lead here in the middle of the 6th. They've got hitters 5, 6, 7 due up for the Eagles in the bottom half of the 6th inning. They've got batters 8, 9 and leadoff.
Wow, what a wild game, and would you expect anything less in a season that has been wacky and wild? We had a snap lockdown in the middle of the season. We didn't know back in September what the conditions would be in a COVID year. Got the season in. We've had some great rounds that have been broadcast nationally, some highlight games. The NAIDOC round was a highlight. How about the Pride round in February? Then 2 great finals so far, and now we just have another epic clash in a seesaw affair between Hills and West Torrens.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, the 2 teams head-to-head have split it as well. 2 wins to the Hills and 3 to West Torrens. You know, going into the finals, Hills had lost their last 4, whereas West Torrens, on the other hand, went 8 games unbeaten before a draw in their last minor round game as well. But to get here, the Hills beat Port Adelaide convincingly 6-1. West Torrens lost to Sturt 2-3 in extras. It's this inning, this season, you just can't call it now, and you probably don't have a favourite going into the final, although Sturt are already there.
Bottom of the 6th inning, this Hills team has taken the fight to everybody. In one of the last minor round games, Hills lost 4-0 to West Torrens, but they were down 1-0 going into the last inning. It was a seesaw, wild affair, and maybe a precursor and a show of things to come that Hills weren't going to back down no matter who they faced. Swinging at this pitch, going over towards right field, and caught by Abby Jorgensen. Alicia Marchink is retired.
Looked like she nearly overrun another one.
I was going to say, I think Abby ran a bit too fast for the ball then. So as you can see here, she gets a bit of a late hit on that, and yep, she goes really fast. She does go really fast, straight to that line, and then she realizes, oh, wait a minute, it's back over here.
Quite
Good
tall
catch.
as well, Abby Jorgensen, so she used her height. Change for the West Torrens Eagles.
And Jackie Beal, she struck out twice today, just looked a bit, the matchup probably hasn't been exactly what they would like today, so Jackie Beal being replaced by Mary Foose. She'll step in, just a young player on this Eagles side coming in a pretty big moment.
Yeah, rookie season for Mary Foose, 7 hits, hitting 200. 7 walks, though, to boost that on-base percentage to 326.
She can get on base for Jordan Harris. That would be wonders for West Torrens.
Again, something all they need to do is just put that ball in play, and again, the good things will come.
I saw Jackie Beal was in the on-deck circle, so I think if Alicia Marchik had got on, they would have stayed with Beal, maybe put the bunt on, try and advance that runner. But instead, coach Andrew Scott going to the bench. Mary's played majority of the season, 17 games played. So for a young player, this could be a great learning experience for her to, earn your spot, come into the finals, and she'll go down swinging.
A crucial first 2 outs retired for Georgia Hood. It's her 8th strikeout of the day. That's important because now Jordan Harris doesn't have anybody on base for her to drive around.
A couple of walks so far in this game. Ground out last turn at bat.
But Jordan's a great leadoff batter. She could really start the energy back up here for the West Torrens.
And there's a shot to the right
There
field.
it
Jorgensen
is.
dives
Oh,
in and
no.
it gets past her. Harris
could be
pounces
a
all
triple.
over that, and she's going to
It's
step in,
definitely
and now, right on cue, Janice is a runner in scoring position.
And that's what, and she is. So look at that. She just goes with the ball so nicely, and she's a game changer. She is honestly a game changer. That's their tying run right there, and such a dangerous tying run to have on base.
That was a tough one for Jorgensen. It was always going to be out of her reach, as Lana Kaiser is going to be intentionally walked. We're just watching the replay. Harris took advantage of that ball that just got away from the right fielder in Jorgensen to stand up at second. If Jorgensen hadn't got her body behind that ball, Harris probably would have scored.
Yep.
So Kaisler, who's had a few epic battles, she's walked, she's scored, she's had a sacrifice bunt. She's the go-ahead run, and she's being put on base intentionally, but Faith Picard is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, so Georgia Hood has certainly had the better of her today. If Faith Picard can muster a base hit, it would be just another great chapter in a pretty epic game so far.
It definitely would be, and you never know. It could be one of those situations where stats don't matter. She could get that miracle hit here.
This in for a strike, so Georgia Hood races ahead 0-2. Any hit you figure is going to score the speedy Harris.
Oh yeah, definitely.
second.
Anything on the grass. Anything on the grass, she's home.
Hood.
Outside edge, and a
Started.
collective sigh over the entire venue.
She started her journey to the dugout. Instead, it's a ball.
I'm not gonna lie, she made my heart drop a little bit then. That was a great pitch by George.
An epic tussle between these two teams. Picard swings through that. Another massive strikeout for Georgia Hood. She's got 9 on the day, gets out of the jam, and she brings Hills to the final inning up by a run.
And this is the time for, the Hills Heat to really put some more runs on the board to put more pressure on the West Torrens.
Well, here we are. We have made it to the 7th inning. Despite the threat of rain, everything around the broadcast area is wet. It's still dripping a little bit off our umbrella. Janice Blackman has been our special guest throughout the evening. Thank you so much for joining us, making the trip to Adelaide. Although the weather's disappointed, the action certainly has not. It is a 1-run ball game going into the last inning here in the preliminary final. Hills Heat, opportunity to put another insurance run perhaps on the board, whereas West Torrens, they need to stay tight here to remain in the game. And they've got 3 outs to score a tying run.
There are 2 possible results now in this game. Either epic upset or incredible walk-off. Only 2 possible things can happen with Sturt awaiting them in the grand final. It's been a wild one, and right off the bat it started wild. Georgia Hood doubled, later scored in the first. West Torrens matched that in the second with some 2-out hitting to tie it up at 1 before in the third. Hills scored 2 runs on some misplays in the outfield, but West Torrens responded with 4 of their own. It was 5-3 all the way until 2 outs, 2 strikes in the 6th. When RBIs and a diving
what a
play
catch!
at first. Kelsey Nucky lays out to retire Talia LaRosa.
First pitch swing here in the 7th inning. LaRosa's 4th time up to bat. She pulls this one into foul territory. And
Look at
Nucky's
this
got
catch.
8 stitches in that forearm.
And that, you know what? In the finals time, you don't feel it. Finals time, you don't feel that kind of stuff. Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
trying
Daniela
to throw
Perez.
him off.
Yeah, that's right. Shape to bunch. She's got a walk and a single so far in the game. So just something to mix things up here. Let's have a
Look at this
that
catch.
Mackie
This
replay.
catch is just phenomenal. Like, full extension, getting all the way out there.
Danny Perez with another good crack at that. Brings it to a 1-1 count. Alex Mackey due up. Hills leading in the last. Looking to punch a ticket to a first ever grand final.
Oh,
Lays down
that's
the
a
bunt.
good bunt.
She's got speed. It's going to be close, but Lana Kazler guns her down. It's 2 outs.
Great play by Kaiser, but I'll give credit to Schultz as well. She was deep and on her heels because Perez swung hard at that one before that. Have a look at her at second base there. Moves across into place just in time as well because Kaiser was coming up firing.
I mean, that could be a good tactic as well. I mean, I've done it from time to time as a slapper with my speed. I've, here we go.
Rounded over to third. Kazler again gets down, makes the play.
Great
1,
play.
2, 3 inning.
But yeah, definitely, that could be a really, really good tactic where you shape for a running bunt and then you go for a really, really nice hard swing on the next at bat, and then you actually go for that running bunt.
Well, this is it right here. Sophie Hoyle, Steph Brzezinski, Kara Schultz. They are the women due up for West Torrens. Sophie Hoyle's had some clutch hits today. Steph Brzezinski's 3 for 3, and Kara Schultz 1 for 3. West Torrens, who were 13-1-1 in their last 15. Hills, who hadn't scored a run versus West Torrens in their last 3 games. It was all looking West Torrens heading into this final series, and they're 3 outs away from a shock straight sets bounce from the final series.
Yeah, Hills Heat in the box seat. They've got 3 outs to make their first ever grand final in their club history. Have a look at this middle order for the Eagles. You mentioned the names, Eric. They've got 8 of the team's 9 hits for the night, the next 4 batters.
That is an incredible stat. They've been playing very well all game long. And Georgia Hood, she's going to go the distance heading in for the 7th inning. This is a clutch moment, ready for big-time players.
Oh, definitely. I will definitely not be shocked if we go into a tiebreaker. Straight after this, I definitely won't be shocked.
That is how West Torrens were lost in the semifinal versus Sturt, was in extra innings. Here we go. Buckle up. Hills 3 outs away from the finals. West Torrens 2 outs away from getting there. Sophie Hoyle, first pitch swing. It's right to La Rosa. It's out number 1.
And that's
Make
a big
that
out
2
right
outs, Eric. It's just going in the favour of the Hills Heat as their coach Scott Humphreys goes to have a chat to his team. Now, it looked like his team are on at the moment, but he's come out with a pretty serious look on his face. What do you think the discussion is, considering that Drazinski's got 3 hits?
To be honest, I think it's just be calm them down a little bit, not getting too overly excited. Let's just stick to the plan. We've still got to get 2 outs here. There's only 1 down. We've still got to get these 2 outs. You know, let's not just celebrate too early. Let's just calm it down. Let's get the job done.
They say that the hardest out in baseball or softball is that last out. Does it get even harder in a bigger game?
I think it definitely does. Yes, because there's these 2 down rallies, you know, and it definitely will show you the clutch players.
Steph Brzezinski has had a tremendous season. Will this be the end of it? It's right back to Hood. 2 pitches, 2 outs, and now Hills are 1 away from a grand final.
You know, with that swing, though, I think Steph did all she could with that pitch. It was a changeup. She waited back for it. Here we go. You'll see her. She keeps her hands back. She sees it, and she just drives it.
That's been Drazinski all year, and it's been successful for her, so you can't blame her for going first pitch. It was there to be hit. Kara Schultz.
Kara Schultz watches this one low. Unbelievable scenes here at Softball SA, here on Spacequake Sports and NITV. Can Kara Schultz keep West Torrens alive? Hood delivers the pitch.
And that
in
pitch,
for a strike.
That pitch, she's been getting that all night. She's been hitting that right on point all night. And I think that's definitely the go-to spot for Hood right now. She's definitely nailing it.
What a game. It's had it all. There's been 19 hits in the game so far.
Is there at least one more on the cards?
19 hits, 16 strikeouts. There's been plenty of action.
3 lead changes. No one's led by more than 2 runs. It's been wild. Hood again, 2-1 count. Outside, catches the outside edge.
Again,
It's a 2-2 count.
Again, she's been hitting that spot all game. She has not missed that spot one bit. You know, West Torrens have done a good job to go with that pitch, but I don't think now's the time to leave it.
Hills are 1 strike away from history. Hood fouled away. It's at least a 6-pitch at bat for Cara Schultz, so West Torrens not going down without a fight. Still lots to play.
It's an important one to foul off. It just gives you a little bit of confidence that you still got your timing, just waiting on your pitch to drive.
100%, and here you go. Here's the pitch.
Change up misses. It was a little up as it went through the strike zone, but the Hills Heat, they are riding a wave at the moment. The excitement is across their whole entire infield as they come together for a ball.
Oof. Here we go.
Full
final
count,
pitch.
2 outs.
Ah,
Cara
it's a
Schultz
foul ball.
battling away, stays alive. We're going to pitch number 8. If this is the final out, it's not been an easy one.
And Kara's not making it easy in any sort of way. She's battling all the way. Look at that. That's a great pitch. Great peepers from Kara too.
Hills are so close to that grand final. Is this the pitch? Hood delivers the payoff. She swings through it. They'll be singing in the hills. They're going to a historic grand final with a shock 6-5 defeat of West Torrens.
Big swing and a miss from Schultz and the Green Army getting around each other right now. They're going to the dance to face the Sturt Falcons this Saturday night. What a massive game. You said it, Eric. 3 lead changes. Hills Heat had not scored against West Torrens since November last year coming into this game. They just did it with the bats. 10 hits in the field as well. They got in, they supported one another. Georgia Hood, what a massive game as we watch the final pitch here on the leading team's replay.
10 strikeouts from Georgia Hood on the day, and there's just been an energy about this Hills team from the start of the finals. The drumming in the dugout, the supporting each other after every pitch. They would have heard people say it's West Torrens and Sturt in the grand final. Hills having nothing of it.
No, not at all. It's such a good game. West Torrens, they put up such a good battle, you know. And unfortunately, with these games, it is one of those games where there is going to have to be a winner. There is going to have to be somebody who loses, you know. But these guys put up such a good battle and such a good fight, you know. Hills had to work for that. Hills definitely had to work for that win.
Well, it is about this time that we mention the MC Sportswear player of the game.
There's only one.
There's one for me as well. Well, there's 2. Georgia Hood's thrown 10 strikeouts and got 2 hits with 2 runs. But Lauren Christensen,
I was going to say Lauren Christensen's been mine.
4 for 4, 2 doubles. All 4 of her hits went to the fence, and she's had 5 RBIs as well.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to absolutely give Lauren Christensen the MC Sportswear player of the game. Now, I don't know. Do you think we'll be able to bring a player from the field into the commentary booth?
We were planning on doing it, but the weather has just tied us up here a little bit. So we'll do a short wrap of the game, and we'll try and get dry and get out of here. But what a clash tonight. I want to give a special mention to our team at NITV for bringing over Janice Blackman, Travelodge Aussie Spirit player, who's been our guest commentator tonight. Janice, thank you for joining us. What'd you think?
Oh, absolutely loved it. You know, these games, we've been, all the girls in the Aussie Spirit team, and especially myself, we have definitely been watching these at home. I've been watching it with my little 4-year-old son. We've been sitting in the lounge room putting it up on our live stream on our TV. So we've been cheering on the girls, and, you know, this Hills Heat, these have been probably my favourites, I'm not going to lie, you know. So I was a bit biased to this team today, but, you know, at this kind of game is anyone's game, especially in preliminary finals, especially like these kind of elimination games, it's anyone's game. Like we were saying before, stats honestly don't matter in this game. It all comes down to who wants it more.
It's been great insight, Janice.
I'd love to give a stat that maybe does matter here. James, when was the last time a team outside the top 2 won a grand final? We're going to have to go back 10, 11 years.
You'd have to go to the record books for that. I know the last time a team out of the top 2 made the grand final would have been Glenelg when Morgan Lashley was throwing for them, and Sophie Hoyle was wearing the Rebels uniform that year as well. But no, I don't have an answer for that one. We could go to the Diamond Jewels to check that out. That's our history book, and it's interesting in that the Hills were actually second at the break. At the halfway mark, at the Christmas break, they were sitting second. They had a bit of an up and down run after Christmas, and they weren't ever going to not finish in the top 4 because they were winning enough games, but they just didn't look like that they were going to feature in the finals. And then bang, bang, 2 Wednesday nights in a row, they've just come out and got the better of their opposition. What a team this Hills Heat is. It's got a tough opponent on Saturday in the Sturt Falcons.
And West Torrens were not just good in the second half of the year, they were dominant. It didn't look like anybody would come close to touching them, but like you said, Janice, finals comes around, pressure gets put on you, and players do some great things in unlikely places.
Yeah, and like we've all been guilty of it as a player in softball. You know, we've definitely been all guilty.
Keep going. I'm going to see if I can grab one of the Hills Heat players.
Look at that, James Harris going to do some work for us. But yeah, tell us more. Yeah,
definitely. So in these kind of games, definitely like. Stats honestly don't matter. It doesn't matter how good your batting, doesn't matter how good your fielding has been. These kind of games definitely change you as a player. They either click in for some and they don't click in for some, but it's anyone's game at this point when it's eliminations.
I think one of the impressive things is if you look through the scorecard, a lot of those Hills Heat hits came when there's 2 outs on the board. That's when that rally. Remember, they were down to their final strike. It was 5-3. It looked like West Torrens were going to be out of the inning and just 3 outs away from a grand final appearance, but that wasn't the case. But we now have a very special guest joining us, and someone that you know. We have Georgia Hood stepping in. Georgia, say hi to everybody watching on Space Quake Sports and NITV.
Hello.
Georgia Hills are through to their first ever grand final. Can you believe that?
It's a bit of a shock at the moment. We're very happy about it. We've got all 4 of our teams, including our juniors, into the grand final this year, so that's a massive effort for us considering we've only been a club for 3 or 4 years now, so we're extremely happy and very grateful for the opportunity.
I mean, we were talking about you and Steph in the battle of the pitches and the dominance of a couple of replays here. That low rise, that last low rise, that was just absolutely beautiful, you know. How did it feel with that rain on and off?
I just tried not to think about it, to be honest. It's all a mental game with the rain. Yes, it does make the ball slippery, but you can't let that affect your game, otherwise it's not going to help at all. So we just tried not to think about it the whole time, and I think Steph did really well in that aspect. So I think we both adjusted extremely well.
Hills as a club, you know, in the second half of the season, there were some good wins. There was a couple games that kind of got away there. But come finals, everything just seems to have come together. Great energy, great. It's just all come together.
Yeah, absolutely. We like to think of ourselves as a family club as well. We all hang out outside of softball. So we just think we're all together as one unit, and that's all you can really ask for. And when it comes to finals, that does sometimes beat like the more skilled teams, more like experienced teams, but I think that just kept us in the game that whole time, is just being a unit.
And one more before we go. You beat the preseason favorites and the CAF Coral medalists in Port Adelaide. You beat the dominant team in the second half in West Torrens. Do you have one more in you?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That's the one that matters for us. Like, obviously the other 2 did matter, but this is what we came here for. This is why we play.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Georgia Hood. Thank you very much for joining us on NITV and Space Quake Sports. Janice Blackman, thank you very much for flying in for the game. Georgia, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll catch you on Saturday night for a grand final between Sturt Falcons and the Hills Heat.
Go Hills.
Good night.